What's up? What's up? Welcome to the first, I guess, technically the first week of the off season. Talking some fantasy football. I know some people had championship this last weekend, so that would suck if you were in one of those leagues. Sorry about you, because that's
Because
not
half the
fun.
league was resting.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine trying to play your championship last week? That would have been so sad.
No, that's why you don't do it.
Yep, would have been so bad. Of course, Sushi just waiting to hop on here and talk about some Tyler Lockett.
He just couldn't wait to tout Tyler Lockett's first good
I'm
season in his
convinced
whole career.
Kyle. Oh my gosh, I'm surprised. I bet Sushi is a blue check mark on Twitter. I bet that's Tyler Lockett. I bet we have
Probably.
Tyler Lockett himself
I bet you're
here in our
right.
chat. I bet that's Sushi.
Or maybe his mom.
He's just raw.
It's the first good season, fantasy season.
It's the first time.
Season that Tyler Lockett's ever had. Most consistent season he's ever had. This last half of this season.
Didn't stink like fish.
This last half of the season, he actually acted as the number one receiver on that team. Which is wild to say. When DK Metcalf is the other receiver on that team.
Yeah, pretty much every year he has a couple of he has a couple huge games, then he has a couple other little blow up games, and that's about it. About maybe 6 games a season, very inconsistent. And so
I was gonna say he has about 10 games a season where he's like 5 points or less, typically.
Yep.
For some reason this year,
what's up, Albert?
He was the guy.
So, some of you guys may notice I have a little bit different setup. I rearranged my office and got a little bit different setup. I don't have my background. I'm gonna get some shelves with some different stuff. I wish I would have had it this year when I had all my championship trophies and stuff I could put up behind me and stuff. The only league I won this year actually doesn't have a championship trophy or award or anything. It's just bragging rights. So nothing cool to put up behind me right now, but I got to get some shelving put in and then
the only one that I won this year doesn't have a trophy or anything either, but maybe I could print and frame like a photo of the Venmo payment where I made
exactly. There you go. Where you made your money. I'll put my second place Venmo payment.
What's really funny is now that the season's over for season-long fantasy people, now you've got a new setup, a new camera angle, all this stuff, because it's the first time you've actually had time to do it since the season kicked.
Correct. Yeah, I've been talking about it for how long now, and just
once we got started, there was no time to really play with anything like that.
Yeah,
because we're so busy doing other things, and now you got some time to kind of do that. I am going to actually this offseason, I'm going to find myself a different desk because I set up at the beginning of the year here at my dining room table, which is kind of it's a taller table, but
uncomfortable chair.
It's square. The chair sucks. Like, I'm going to make some changes for next year too. So I still got some work to do. I haven't got to it yet.
No doubt.
Mine's going to look quite a bit different last year too. I'm not going to have this stadium thing up behind me every week next week. I'm actually going to have some other things going on that'll look better.
Yeah, I'll rarely probably have that up. I don't know when I'll have the stadium thing up, but
I'll probably never have this one up again because once I take it down, it's such a monster to try to put up.
Yeah.
Because of the way this camera angle is. Like, it's literally like, I don't even know how long this is. It's like an 8 foot or 9 foot, I think, wide. Yeah. Like, it's huge. It's huge. It takes up my whole dining room wall and a half. Like, it's
huge, man.
Because it actually curves into another wall. Right here is the corner of 2 walls. So, like, here's the corner, and then it's just goes straight across this corner. So I know it looks like an optical illusion, like it's all flat, but it's actually not.
Yeah, that's you got that single life going on. My wife would not allow for something like that. In fact, it was hard enough for me to get. This is our guest bedroom / office, and it was hard enough for me to convince her to downsize our guest bed to a twin instead of a queen, and be able to rearrange the office. So it just took till after season to convince her of that, but it is what it is. I'll take it. Yeah. Let's hop over here and just chat it up, man, because it's off season, so not too much going on there. Plant Man, what's going on? Yeah, he said came in second. Thought for sure I would win championship 12-2, and second. If you're not first, you're last. LOL. So a couple things about that. What's up, 7 over on Instagram? So a couple of things. Saw that a lot. Most leagues that I was in, the person who finished at the top of their league did not win the championship because it was just that kind of year. I mean, those top players just flopped and lost a lot of these good teams their championships. So not surprised there, honestly. Really upsetting, but not surprised. If you're not first, you're last. Um, yes and no. So the one that kind of won the championship, I came in second and still got $100 payout. So last place got nothing, so I'll take it.
Exactly.
I will take it.
Oh, Riley.
So my wife has been complaining that our poor dog hasn't been able to make it on camera all season. She said
Bailey's been on camera, but not Riley.
Riley has takes, is what she keeps saying. And I was like, yeah, I'll wait till
Did
off
she
season
really
to get
say
her
that?
takes.
Because that's hilarious.
Yeah, she said Riley has takes. So I told her we would wait till off season so she could give her her off season takes. You know, I'd like to know her. She watches a lot of college football with me on Saturdays, so I'd be curious to know what she thinks about some of these rookies. But she's really weirded out right now because she's like, she never gets to come up here with me.
She's trying to figure out who you're talking to.
Exactly.
She's like, when are you gonna stop so that I can tell them who my top rookie for next year is?
Exactly. This is our little.
She would know better than me right now, probably. I haven't.
Just our little crystal ball right here. So, anyways, she'll be popping in from time to time. Both my dogs will in the off season. But
my dog is enormous, and I can't lift her up in front of the camera anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't try. I would not try if I were you. All right, let's jump over to this next one here with Albert. He said, which team do y'all think is most likely to get upset this weekend?
Ooh, most likely. Oh, that's tough. Huh, that's really tough. I don't think the Eagles will upset the Bucks. Honestly, if I'm being honest, because I've been a fan for so long, I think the Cowboys are probably most likely to get upset this weekend. Because the Niners are a good team, even though I love that matchup for Dallas. I could really see, if that offense putters like it has in some of the last few weeks, then I could see that happening.
Honestly, I was going to say the same thing. I think of all the teams most likely to get upset, I think it's the Cowboys. I mean, you look at their playoff history, first of all, and then, I mean, there's two teams that can show up for the Cowboys. One just comes out all pistons firing and and they're just nailing it on offense and defense. Or another can show up, maybe their defense is playing well, but their offense just can't move the ball for some reason. It's just hard to say what team's going to show up, and that makes me really nervous. So, and San Francisco is a good team. I mean, it's the matchup that I would prefer out of all the other matchups, probably, other than the Eagles, of course. But they're not going to give us that didn't work out. So, of the way it could have worked out, I think San Fran's the one I wanted, but it's still tough. That's no gimme.
I'm kind of cracking up here though. Like I've pulled up on NFL.com the matchups and stuff, and so after each one, it tells like what channels it's going to be on. Everything's like typical NBC, Peacock, Paramount, CBS, Fox, ESPN, and then the Dallas game is also on Amazon Prime and Nickelodeon.
Oh, weird.
The heck is that? They're just gonna green slime whoever loses that game, or what?
Maybe. Hey, it's America's team, so they got to show it.
Eliminated.
They're indoctrinating the children. That is a classic matchup, though, the 49ers and Cowboys. So that's kind of fun. That's a fun one right there.
Cardinals and Rams, I think, will be a really good game.
I wouldn't necessarily call that an upset.
A 4 and 5 seed, I'm not really sure I'd call that an upset.
Yeah,
I think the Bengals will take care of business against the Raiders.
I agree.
I guess the second most likely maybe upset would be New England at Buffalo.
You're reading my mind here. Yeah.
I could see the Patriots pulling off one against the Bills, but Jonathan, they've always been America's team. Not because they're the best team, but because they just have fans all over America. That's why.
Yeah, it is what it is.
People never understand that. They're like, America's team. Like, well, if you understand why they say that, then yeah, we kind of are.
Yeah, so Plant Man saying go Raiders and Cowboys. Yeah, I just don't feel like the Raiders. I feel like the Raiders are lucky to be in, and they're going to be lucky if they beat Cincinnati. Cincinnati's looking pretty good right now, which is funny because everyone before the season is like, oh, that offensive line, and they're looking pretty good. That whole team's looking pretty good. So
I think if Dallas gets beat, I'm pulling for Kyler Murray.
yeah, I think I have to. Yeah.
If he gets beat, go Chiefs, just because we have a friend that's a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, Chiefs have actually always been like my number 2 team, just because they're the second closest to us geographically. And then, like you said, one of our best friends is a huge Kansas City fan, and I like Patrick Mahomes quite a bit, honestly.
I'm a Travis Kelce fan.
Same, yeah. I mean, there's just players on that team that I really like. So
I've always had a soft spot for really good tight ends,
and
I love watching them play.
And let's not forget Creed Humphrey.
Yep.
So Creed Humphrey is kind of a hometown boy for me and Kyle, and our buddy who's a big Kansas City Chiefs fan actually coached Creed Humphrey in 7th grade. So kind of a weird connection there. So yeah, Kansas City's going to be my second team to root for in all of this. Alrighty, let's see. Greg hitting us with some fantasy questions. I think we've already talked about a lot of these in past ones. So his keepers, we've talked about that quite a bit, actually. I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like we talked about that last week on one of them.
Yeah, in my draft. Yeah, we did. In my draft, I want to draft a heavy offensive teams like Raiders, Packers, Cowboys. Didn't have any Cowboys on my team this year. Honestly, the Cowboys players were so inconsistent this year.
They were.
That it actually, they have a high-powered offense, but it was so inconsistent. It was actually hurtful. Like when you got a good game out of someone, you got a good game out of somebody, but it wasn't good. I think I saw a stat earlier today. I think it was where Amon-Ra St. Brown finished with more fantasy points than CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, just like you just never know which receiver is going to do good. You don't even know anymore now which running back's going to do good.
Well, I think Schultz got more work than anybody expected, right? Yeah. And then Cedric Wilson steps up when he gets the chance. Between Gallup and Cooper and CD, I mean, you just don't know, like you said, which one's going to be open that game. And it feels like when one person is open that game, they're open the entire game, and that's the target. That's why Schultz would have games with 2 touchdowns. Sometimes CD would have a game with 2 touchdowns. Sometimes Cedric Wilson game with 2 touchdowns. I mean, whoever's open is open, right? Exactly. And then those running backs, you don't know if it's going to be Zeke or Pollard because they're splitting pretty good now. So Dak was pretty inconsistent because they had some of those games where just running the ball worked, you know, or their offense just wasn't working at all and they scored 10 points. So
yeah, it was either, Zeke or Pollard got all the points, or Dak and one of the receivers at random got all the points.
It was rough. So I'm seeing for this Dallas game though, tickets as low as $157. Kyle, we need to take a road trip.
When do they play? They play Sunday? Yeah.
At 3:30?
3:30.
That's kind of tempting, actually.
I'll bet 150 is like top row. Actually, that'd probably be standing room seats, which is crappy.
Actually, the standing room seats are much cheaper. Yeah, you'd be. Oh no, the standing room seats only. Yeah, standing room only for 153 is actually what it starts out at.
Yeah, see that's.
And I can't stand that long. My back's not good, so. The lowest seat is 163.
I can't stand that long either. So.
100. Well, and when it's standing room, you have to be at the front of the place so that you can actually see. If you're behind people, you're stuck. $163 though for a sitting ticket. Where the hell is that? Oh no, that's just. Are you kidding me? No, that's standing room only. It's just not labeled as. It's just SRO. Get out of here. All right. So, no, I think all they have left are standing room only.
They're just going to pack as many people as they can in there. That's the only reason there's tickets left.
Yeah, get me on Craigslist. I'll find us some tickets, my man.
They're gonna sell standing room tickets until they meet the fire marshal code.
Dude, I'm in standing room only right now. I'm up over $320 until you get to. Oh, there it is, 315. Yeah, you get up over $300 for your in actual seats per ticket.
Mm.
Eek.
Yeah, I'll stay home and watch it.
Yeah, that's wild. Let's work our way through some of these. Bucks are too heavy offense, but I don't know. Is Brady retiring? Brady ain't gonna retire.
I don't think he will. I know his contract's up this year. I could see him signing like another year or two.
Yeah, I can see that too. Let's see. Renfro 23 points on bench. I effed up my bench with Higgins 7 points. Yeah, we told you over and over go with Renfro, and you went with Higgins anyways. Just saying. Going to Monster Truck Jam this weekend here in San Antonio. Loved it. Used to go to those growing up all the time.
Just jumping back to the Renfro thing, I'm pretty sure me and Tony said Higgins over Renfro.
Oh, did you? No.
I think we said that last week when you also said
That's right. Yeah, I told him Renfro over and over again, though, all through the week. That's what happens when he keeps asking. He keeps asking. He keeps asking. You're going to get bad advice from Tony and Kyle.
Yeah, I should have made Renfro my super loser. You think he could have started him and he would have done well.
There you go.
But no, we were both on Higgins. They had a good matchup, and Renfro had been trending the wrong direction, and Zay Jones playing better, and Derek Carr just went nuts.
I'm just saying, I stuck to my guns all season. I never recommended starting a Bengals wide receiver like Boyd or Higgins the entire season.
And this is the first time it really paid off because Higgins had been killing it.
I mean, for part of the season.
Up until that point, like for about 5 or 6 weeks before that, he'd been doing pretty well.
Okay, Tyler Lockett. See, I did say Renfro. That's what can I say? Man, see now I'm curious on. I know I can't get a playoff ticket to the Cowboys for that much, but
if they go to the Super Bowl, I'll pay whatever the fuck they want to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of Super Bowls, I was on Instagram earlier and saw this thing from this Eagles page that was talking about how in the last 20 years, it was going through stats of the Eagles versus Cowboys in the last 20 years. And it's like, you guys have some catching up to do. Just talking about like playoff wins and Super Bowls. Cause it's when, and people were on there just roasting them. Like, really? Cowboys have some catching up to do. And I just put it on there. I was just like, man, imagine being so desperate that this is your argument. Because people are like, right. Okay, so you went back 20 years. Why not go back 30 years? Because then if you do that, now Eagles have some catching up to do. So why are you stopping at 20 years? That's awfully convenient.
Super convenient cutoff.
Super freaking convenient.
But people give Dallas fans such a hard time because it's been 25 years since our last Super Bowl or whatever. It's like, okay, the Chiefs went double that between Super Bowls and nobody busted their balls.
Well, it's always the go-to of like, you probably weren't even alive the last time they won a Super Bowl. Well, joke's on them because yes, like
I'm old as shit. I was
3 Super Bowls, but that's always the go-to. That was the response to everyone who criticized their post. That was their response of like, oh, you weren't even alive last time. And it's like, that wasn't that long ago, guys. Like, geez.
It's been 87 years, like that meme from
Titanic. Right. Let's see. Last pro NFL game. Woo. You were at that one, I'm guessing you're saying? That's crazy. Let's see. Albert, who are your top 5 Cubies next year? You want to go first or me?
I mean, I'll go. Allen, Herbert, Mahomes, in no particular order. I guess, do you want them in order?
No, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't say in order.
Those top 3 to me are very close. Allen, Herbert, Mahomes. Murray.
The last one's hard.
Number 5's tough. The top 4 to me are clear. Number 5 is either Brady, Rodgers if he stays,
Burrow,
Stafford. Lamar
Uh,
Jackson. I think Burrow and Dak are probably right below maybe those guys.
I
But if I had to pick one right now, I'd say Stafford is number 5.
That's not a bad pick, actually.
That's who I'd take. Rodgers probably won't even be there next year.
That's my
So,
guess.
Allen, Herbert, Mahomes, Murray, Stafford, those would be my top 5. And then in some order, the next 5 would be Brady, Dak, Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Rodgers to be determined, maybe replaced with Hurts if Rodgers doesn't play. So there you go.
The top 4 to me are easy, right? It's that 5th one that's really, really tough.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson can be, right? But Tom Brady always proving me wrong, and I hate to say it. But also, like I'm looking at early 2022 rankings here on Fantasy Pros, and they have like Jalen Hurts down at number 12. I don't know, man. He puts up fantasy points. Uh, I don't know. I think I have to maybe put like Tom Brady up there at number 5. It's because he puts up the points, man.
Yeah. That's tough between Stafford and Brady. But I think I got to go with Stafford.
Man, I know. The more you say Stafford, the more I second guess
See,
myself
I'm
too. 'Cause
looking now. I didn't
That's a
know
good pick.
Fantasy Pros had 2022 out already, so I just switched over. They got Lamar Jackson at 5.
Yeah,
Then
I
they got
just don't know that
Rodgers,
I trust
Brady,
it.
Dak, Burrow. Then Stafford's at 10. Like, that's
Yeah,
too low. That is too low for me. So wait on Stafford.
I just think Stafford's more consistent than like Dak.
I love Dak, but
But I think Joe Burrow's getting there, man.
he's
He's
getting
getting
there.
up there. I don't know.
I'd
That's tough.
put Stafford up at 5 and move Dak out. I think Hurts is probably at 11, honestly. I mean, they've got him at 12, but I mean, after Hurts reaches top 10 if Rodgers retires, I think.
Jackson gets sacked too much. Negative point sacks. Oh, I'm not in a league where you get negative points for getting sacked.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Mm-mm.
But
Never been in one.
he's in that super weird
Yeah,
ass
you
league.
get some weird
They
scoring
put
in
the
that
most
league. That's
random stuff in that league. I don't know
Yeah, that you're
how
in a
high your
strange,
league
strange
manager
league
was.
there, Plant Man, because that is I've never been in a league like that. Playing for 11
Yeah.
years now, never had that.
I don't know how
Um,
high your league manager was when he made that scoring, but
it's like they were trying to be like the Scott Fish Bowl or something like that. Like make this as wild as possible to make it impossible to get any sort of actual advice because you're just guessing.
or he could have
Um,
done like Jason and just changed everything. And then when everybody started
not
complaining that it was weird, it's just like, well, nobody told me to change it.
Right. That was the wildest thing. Like I changed all of the default stuff that isn't super important, but went in and changed some weird stuff on the back end. And then when no one caught it, well, you didn't complain about it.
Yeah, exactly. So Plantman says Carr? What?
Yeah.
Allen Carr, Rodgers, Mahomes, Dak. No. No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You're wrong on 3 out of 5 of those, buddy.
Yeah. Rogers,
I
unlike
love Dak. Dak is one of my favorite players ever, but he is not a top 5 fantasy quarterback.
mm-mm.
He's like we were talking about a second. It's too inconsistent.
Too inconsistent. You can't depend on it.
Yes, Murray on that one.
Yeah. Murray
Murray's
for sure.
amazing. He's in a slump right now, or he was, I guess. But he's so good.
I am in awe watching Kyler Murray play. He just amazes me. He's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
He's just not normal, and I love it.
So he had let's see, 3 bad games, I'd say. One against San Fran, he had 14 points. 11 against Green Bay. So those were week 5, 8. You go down, he had 19 against the Rams week 14, 14 against Detroit week 15, and then 22-23 the last 2 weeks. Like, everybody thinks he sucked, but he's only had a few bad games.
Okay, so his lowest game on the season was 11 points.
Yep.
Let's see. I'm looking at Dak right now. There's one for 2.64. There's one for 6.94. So he had two like that. He had another one for 11.58. Another one for 15.2. Yeah. Dak's had a couple down games. 10.48.
I think everybody's had some down games. Allen had a few. Let me pull this up.
So when you think about Kyler Murray, I mean, his floor was lower.
So
was higher than some of these guys.
Josh Allen had 2 12-point games. Jacksonville in week 9 and New England in week 13, the snow game. He had an 18-point game against Indy in week 11. So, he's had a handful. His first 2 weeks, 17 and 18, Pittsburgh and Miami, weeks 1 and 2. He had more under 20 points than Kyler did. He just had his higher ones were a little higher than Kyler's highs. But
Tom Brady had 11 just 11 points there, 14.24, 4.76, a 17.38. So he had 4 kind of down weeks as well.
Everybody's fully aware of Mahomes' midseason slump.
Yep.
Everybody goes through little slumps like that.
Russell Wilson had a hell of a time this year.
Plus, Murray lost his top receiver for the majority of the season. Like,
that does hurt.
Murray is just too dangerous. Too dangerous. It's like Plantman wasn't even here for the whole Dak and Cowboys offense conversation we had.
Right.
He has tons of weapons, but man, on those games where they just run the ball, he gets no points.
I'm gonna look over here really quick at like Jalen Hurts, and he had he had a game with 11.22, another game with 9.86, and another one with 12.96. Otherwise, he was actually pretty good on the season. Oh, there's another one with 18 and a half. So he had also 4 games under 20 points. He fell off, and most of those happened all in the second half of the season. Of course, one of those was against Detroit, so they're just running the ball against Detroit. Another one, they were easy matchups, the Giants and Washington. So he had actually bad scoring games against easy teams because I think they were just running the ball.
Yeah.
So
it's like I'm looking even at Justin Herbert. He had the first 2 games of the year under 20. Week 6 against Baltimore, he had 12. New England, week 8, he had 16. 13 in week 10. And then even the last 2 weeks, Houston 19, Denver 18. Like, he had some really big games in between all of those, but he was also he had a good season, still had some down weeks.
Yeah, now we're looking over it.
Happens to everybody.
Now looking over at Joe Burrow, he had week 2 he had 14.28. Then he come down, he did really well. Probably averaging around 29 points a game. Doing pretty good there. And then week 9 against Cleveland, he had 2.38 points. And then a bye week, and then came back against Las Vegas with 10 points. And then bumped it back up. Even had his last 2 games. Week 16, he had 52 points. And week 17, he had 49. So finished the season strong there. So Joe Burrow, he's like the Tyler Lockett of quarterbacks. He's either scoring you about 17 or 19, or he's scoring you 40 plus. Wow.
The moral of the story is every QB this season was a little inconsistent.
Yes, it was a very inconsistent season.
Some were just, their lows were lower and highs were higher than other ones.
The problem is you couldn't even play matchups because like Jalen Hurts playing against those easy teams, you're like, cool, he gets an easy matchup, and then he doesn't do anything with it. So
like Josh Allen against Jacksonville was one of his lowest games.
Ridiculous.
So
yeah,
it's tough. QBs are tough. So you have to go on just pure talent and the weapons they have, but mostly just the talent and the offensive scheme that they're in. Josh Allen, the Bills barely run. The Chiefs barely run. Arizona, they ran more once they lost D-Hop, but typically they're letting Murray air it out. Plus Murray's running ability helps. Herbert
wanna
can run the ball, but
you wanna
he's
know something
throwing to his
crazy?
running back a lot.
Hold on a second. Is this real?
I have no idea what you're looking at.
Okay, so I'm looking at Kirk Cousins right now. Everyone else I've looked at has had at least one game with single-digit scoring. Kirk Cousins doesn't have a single game where he scored in single digits like everyone else, including Dak Prescott, Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. Those are the ones I just have pulled up. I think you said Josh Allen had at least one, right?
He was probably one of the most consistent ones on the year, but his average was just lower than everybody else's. He didn't have any real true like blow up games.
He finished one spot behind Kyler Murray in the final rankings there. Oh, Kyler Murray did not have a game with single digits either. He had an 11-point game, so he stayed away from that. The lowest scoring game for Kirk was 13. So, but yeah, for the most part, he was actually pretty consistent. It's just that his ceiling isn't very high. He had a 36-point game. He had 3 games over 30 points. 4 games, sorry, if you count week 18. But it's tough, man. Quarterbacks are really tough. So, like you said,
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
very true. Very true.
So, let's talk about real quick. Let's talk about some of these coaching changes. Saw Joe Judge got fired earlier, which
Yeah.
everyone was talking crap. Like, like I can't believe he still has a job. But then that ended pretty quick after that. So
I know everybody's like, so all these other guys are gonna get
well, now
fired,
hold
but
on.
not
I
Judge.
got that. I got that update earlier because it was like I saw something earlier. And it was like, imagine, or can you believe we live in a world where Flores gets fired, but Joe Judge still has a job? And then a little bit later, I actually got an alert from Sleeper that said Joe Judge had been fired. And
Yeah.
now I'm seeing a report on Sports Edge that says that reports New York's decision to keep Joe Judge may not be decided until next week or even later. So I guess we don't actually have an answer on that.
That's weird because I got the same alert said he was definitely fired.
Huh. Oh, and then right under what?
No, this one here says he's fired.
This one says he's fired. That's so weird,
The
dude.
most recent one says he's fired.
Yeah, once I clicked on it, there was one that showed up, but in the main feed, it's not there.
I'm just looking at
Whoa.
the names of all these people that these teams. So
Sports Edge.
coaches are fired by Jacksonville, Denver, Chicago, Miami, Minnesota, Vegas earlier in the year when Gruden left, and then the Giants. Like that's a lot. That's probably the most teams I've seen in a while at once that all needed a coach. And looking at these lists of people they've already interviewed, some of them, and the names of the people that they've requested to interview for a lot of these teams, like there's a lot of good candidates and a lot of candidates where you're like, why the hell would you want to do that? Bill O'Brien, for example.
Cowboys might be losing his their offensive and defensive coordinators. That could suck.
That'd be rough. That'd be real rough.
That would suck really bad. So hoping that does not happen. Luckily, if we lose our defensive coordinator, we might get Zimmer. So that might not be a bad fill in there if we lose Quinn. But
if we don't get Zimmer, though, we're going to struggle for real.
Yeah. And I hate to say this. I like Kellen Moore, but I don't mind freshening up our offense a little bit.
No, and we've got enough young, like really promising pieces on defense. We'll be a pretty attractive destination for a good defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And then of course we have the offensive talent. We'll be the same for an offensive coordinator. We just got to find the right fit.
Yep. Well, and hell, if you pay him enough, maybe we could get Lincoln Riley. Money talks, bro. Let's just offer him enough money.
I don't want him.
I would say we could get one of these top college recruits, but I don't think the pros can afford these guys anymore. These college teams paying big time money.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
It's nuts.
And like these teams are just bribing them with it now. Like,
oh yeah. I'd get fired about some college football right now.
Was it Eastern Michigan that offered $1 million to Caleb Williams to come
Yeah.
up there. Like
Just straight up.
that should not be a thing.
Well,
That should
Texas
not be.
A&M has the number one recruiting class in the country because their boosters raised the most amount of money. It was like what $30 million or something, or was it 60 million? I can't remember. They raised the most amount of money their boosters did to pay these recruits. So they have the number one recruiting class in the country. It's just like, wow, what a cool game we're playing now. Like whoever can pay the most money gets the best recruits.
Yep.
That's really cool. And there's no salary cap in college, right? But it was supposed to be for like these students were supposed to be getting paid for their likeness, right? So like jersey sales, if you're getting used in a EA Sports video game, if you're signing autographs, you can get paid to sign autographs, which I agree with all of that stuff. You know, if when I was in college, we had to take so many like courses and reminders every year, and we had an officer in charge of just making sure, a compliance officer, making sure we weren't doing these things and investigating these things. If we accepted $1 for like an autograph or something, you were out of the NCAA. I mean, you were done. And so, I mean, at this point, give Reggie Bush his damn Heisman Trophy back.
For real. Dude, I'm serious. That's 100%. That's trash.
I mean, give it back.
You don't take that and then a couple years later you're like, oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and just pay him. Because like honestly, it's NIL, name, image, likeness. They're just straight up giving them cash.
They're just straight up paying them.
Like that is not what it's for.
Like we'll give you money, and it's like what? Yeah, it's not
what it's for.
It's not what it's for. But it's how
you know, if the NCAA really wanted to dig into some of these schools doing that, I think they'd find a lot of violations where they're not paying them for that.
I bet they wrote it incorrectly or something and didn't make it to where you couldn't do that. I bet they screwed it up, and this is
they found a loophole.
But apparently, and I know this isn't a college football thing, but a channel or anything.
We want it to be.
But obviously, being an OU fan, I've heard that apparently OU is actually really strict on this, and it's hurting their recruiting because they are using it the correct way, and they're not just kind of opening up their checkbooks and writing checks to these students, and it's actually hurting their recruiting because they are doing it correctly, and that
our morality
sucks.
Hurting.
It's going to screw us. Yeah, it's going to screw us, which really sucks. But then we have that one quarterback recruit that we just got, and he partnered with Make-A-Wish Foundation. All his NIL money will go to Make-A-Wish. So he's not going to keep.
Was that the guy from USC?
No.
The one before that. Remember, he was between us and Texas. I can't remember his name, but Texas was just trying to buy him.
Yeah, I can't remember.
He's like, I wanted to win. I didn't want to just get paid like that. So, but the problem is, most of these kids, are not mature enough to make that same kind of decision either.
I'm okay, but here's the problem. I'm not blaming the kids. Dude, go get paid. You're getting offered $1 million, $2 million to go play college football. Hell yeah. Absolutely. It's not their fault. Of course you're going to take that. Why wouldn't you take that? That's like when people leave early to go to the NFL. It's like, yeah, go get paid while you can. Take your money and run.
Yeah.
That's what you worked so hard for. So I don't really blame them for that. That's exactly what I would probably be doing too. And I probably encourage them to do it. But that opportunity shouldn't exist in the first place. That's my problem.
Yeah.
The problem now is now you've allowed it. How do you then take it back? Now you screwed up now.
Yeah.
And same thing, like now you should look back and go like, okay, Reggie, here's your Heisman back. Like
you have to. They have to give that back at this point.
I mean, look at like Rhett Bomar with OU, who was him and that offensive lineman who got kicked off because they got paid for hours they didn't necessarily work at the car dealership they worked at. And like the company, maybe they gave him like a company car or something to drive around into, something like that.
Yeah.
He wasn't actually ran off. And he got ran off to a Division I AA school where he then got to kick my ass in a game, but not the point. The point
that game was balls too. I remember that.
Yeah, I almost threw up during warm-ups. That was so hot. But
that was a nightmare.
But I'm just saying, all these kids have gotten punished for such small things in the past, and now they're just straight up offering them money. Like, you see all these shows and these football shows and movies and stuff where these boosters are trying to slip money to the kids secretly, and they're getting found out about, blah, blah, blah. They're trying to sneak around. And now, like, that's all just regular practice out in the open. like bragging about it, like, this booster just gave me a $500,000, you know? Like, it's
Yeah,
just part of the game now. It's like, that's crazy. It's
it is crazy.
crazy. So when do high school players start getting paid?
Never. They better not ever.
I'm just saying.
I mean, they kind of do with scholarships, but
A little bit. All right. So back to the coaches. Sorry, I got off on a little tangent there, but
yeah, I was just looking at these teams that need coaches like Jacksonville. They get the right coach in there that can develop Trevor Lawrence. That team could be pretty dangerous. The Broncos have a lot of
is it
talent. Be
but
very dangerous with the right coach
is it
and the right
really your
quarterback.
head coach's job though to develop your quarterback? Like, I think that's where people go wrong too. Like,
Well,
like
it's not his specific job to develop the quarterback, but he's got to bring in the right people with him that can
right,
to run that offense, to develop that quarterback. It's that obviously it's not the head coach out there, practicing with him every day. Same with Denver; they got a lot of talent. Hopefully, the right head coach can help bring in the right QB
right,
besides Bridgewater or Locke, because they're clearly not the answer.
right. I mean, I
The
guess
Bears, same thing. They should be a pretty attractive, not a young, good QB with the right coaching staff in there and the right offensive system. Could be
I mean
very dangerous.
because they've got some good offensive weapons too with Montgomery and who's that little his backup that was really good.
Khalil Herbert,
Yeah, Herbert, and then you
Cole
have
Kmet.
Komet and Mooney. Allen Robinson's probably out of there, right? Is that right? Was his
Yeah, his contract's up, but if they get the
uh,
right staff in there, he might resign. Who knows?
he might,
But
but
but all of these teams should be very attractive landing spots. The Dolphins have some good young talent. Their defense is really good. You
yeah.
got Waddle. You can maybe develop Tua further or get a new QB there. But honestly, Flores shouldn't have been fired anyways. But he's really turned that team around. So for them to get rid of him
Well,
is kind of dirty. But
yeah, I mean, you got to give him this is what his third season, is that right? Where he's been like
you know
500 or
how
under.
hard it is to turn around a team as bad as the
Well,
Dolphins were, though?
that's where I was going with that though. It's only his third season, and then they turned it around mid-season. Like they were on a 7-game to go on a 7-game, 8-game, I don't know what it ended up being, but to go on that kind of win streak, turn it around, not give up, to be able to motivate your players to not give up and to
Yeah.
fight back. And with all the COVID issues and the injury issues and stuff, even with a backup quarterback in at times, you're able to pull that off.
It's
I
almost
mean,
like they were 7 weeks in, 0-7, and management wanted him to lay down since they weren't going to make playoffs and just get a top pick. And Flores said, "No, we want to win." And so
yep.
they basically won out, all except maybe one game. And now they got a bad draft pick, and they didn't make playoffs. Dallas in the
It's
2000s.
Dallas. Yep.
And so it's like management was like, you know what? Screw you. You're out.
Yep. What it feels like.
So
Now,
somebody's going to get a really good pickup with Flores as a
n-
coach for their team. And
now
like
in
the
my
Vikings is a fantastic landing spot too. I mean,
now if I'm not I think I'm correct in thinking the Dolphins don't even have a first round draft pick this next year. I think Philly has it.
is that right?
I
I don't
think
remember.
so.
Wow. Well, so they got a bad second pick then.
Yeah, they don't pick until late.
They got a bad second round pick. But yeah, all of these teams are pretty attractive for new coaches. Well, except maybe the Giants. The Raiders don't look terrible on their team, but the Raiders and Giants are probably the worst two out of the ones that all need. Like they probably have the weakest rosters to try to attract new coaches with.
Yeah, Philadelphia has picked 15 and 16. Uh they got pick 16 from Miami.
Wow.
And then they
Wow.
have pick 19. Oh, wait, what? Oh no. No. I don't know. That's a hard. They put that together in a hard to read way. Thanks NFL.com. Appreciate you. They could have put that together way better for me. I saw a better one on my phone the other day, but I'm using that for Instagram right now, so not gonna pull that up. But it's interesting. That's interesting. So they don't get to pick until like super, super late now. But I mean, you didn't have a first round pick, so you were going for what, an earlier second round pick? Come on. Like, good for him for not giving up. That might be a good coach for like a Jacksonville or something, where he can come in and maybe motivate that young team, kind of get them turned around or something. I don't know, but he won't be on the market long. He'll be probably one of the first ones scooped up, if not the first one scooped up. I'll be curious to see all the talk about.
I think he'll be the first one hired.
I'll be curious to see about how the talk with Bieniemy comes up. Again, it comes up every offseason. So I'll be curious to see.
A couple of teams I think have already interviewed. Let's see. Crap. Let me get the right one. The Broncos already interviewed him. And I think a couple of others have requested permission to. But the Broncos have already interviewed Bieniemy apparently. So
interesting.
Or lined up. Or maybe they've already just lined up an interview for him. I don't know that.
Okay. Because he's interviewed a lot in the past and never gotten a gig. So it makes me wonder if he's just not a good fit for head coach, which is fine. Like, you don't have to be a head coach to be respected. I mean, he has a dream job right now anyways. Let's be honest. So he fits that system. He's got a great quarterback that will be there for 9 more years. He just got a great team there, right? So, and not everyone's meant to be a head coach. Not everyone wants to be a head coach. I almost feel like he's being pressured to be a head coach. You know what I mean? Like, everyone wants him to be a head coach so bad because he's done so good as a coordinator. What if he doesn't even want it? Because maybe his interviews, maybe he comes across like that. Maybe in his interviews, people are like, "Oh, I don't think he really wants to be a head coach."
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to, but he also, if someone can make a good enough pitch to him that it changes his mind, but he also satisfies that Rooney Rule.
Yeah,
which is an unfortunate rule.
I hate it. It's trash. So, I mean, yeah, it's interesting.
Going back to these draft picks real quick, I pulled this up. So Philly has picked 15 from Miami, 16 from Indy, and then they have their own pick, which will be around 20. So they have 3 first-round picks for Philly this year, which sucks.
I am not seeing that. I see 15, 16, and then you said what? 19 or
like 20, because they're in the playoffs, so their pick isn't set yet.
Right. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So they've only set through 18 right now, and then everybody else is in the playoffs.
Yeah. So they have they have a lot of picks there in that first.
Yeah.
That sucks. So the Jets
2 picks in the top 16.
And the Giants have pick 5 and 7. And then the Jets have picks 4 and 10. But that sucks for that division there, that New York has picks 5 and 7. Philly has 15, 16, and potentially like 19, 20. You know,
the Lions have a pair too, because they got the Rams pick as well as their number 2. So they'll have the Rams pick wherever they land.
Yeah. So that's going to get interesting. The Jets with number 4 and 10. That'll be helpful.
The Jets need help for sure. So
the Giants need help, but I feel like they're not as far back as the Jets. Yeah, that's interesting. That sucks. The Eagles played that pretty well. I don't like that at all, actually.
So I muted this auto ad at the top, started reading. It unmuted itself when it started playing.
Imagine that.
That was really jacked up.
That sucks.
Every page you go to now has an autoplay friggin' ad at the top. It's so annoying. Plant Man, we'll see you later, bud. Thanks for hanging.
See you, buddy. So here's a page I'm on. It's for the New York Giants. It's Giants.com, actually, and it's highlighting the New York Giants picks, and they got pick number 5, and it's talking about past 10 selections at pick number 5. Here we go. Going from this last year back, so 2021, 2020, 2019. Jamar Chase, Tua, Devin White, Bradley Chubb, Corey Davis, Jalen Ramsey, Brandon Scherf, Khalil Mack, Ezekiel Ansah, Justin Blackman. Like those are the last 10 number 5 overall picks.
Blackman was a top 5 pick. I didn't
Yeah, I
remember
didn't
that.
realize that either. Couldn't put down the weed. That sucks because he was good actually.
He was really good.
So those are your last 10 number 5 overall picks. There's some great names in there. Holy crap. And then they get pick 7. Here's the past 10 number 7s. Penei Sewell, Derek Brown, Josh Allen, linebacker Josh Allen to the Jags. The year before that was Josh Allen for the Bills. So they both Josh Allens went number 7 overall in back-to-back years. And then Mike Williams, DeForest Buckner, Kevin White, Mike Evans, Jonathan Cooper for the Cardinals, and then Mark Barron for the Bucks. So some also big names in there too. So
yeah, wow.
So they're going to get some good picks. Really good picks. Oh, Deion Sanders was a number 5 pick. LaDainian Tomlinson was the number 5 pick. Sean Taylor. Dang. That's crazy. Mike Ditka was the number 5. Anyways, that's looking good. I mean, Giants are sitting pretty with 5 and 7. Good for them. They need the help, though.
Speaking of Ditka, I was a little sad that Pitts didn't break his rookie receiving record for a tight end this last week.
Yeah, here's my thing, though.
He needed 59 yards. He got 8.
I feel like they're going to have to, the record books are going to have to be split or with an asterisk or something. There were so many records being broken this last weekend because of the extra game. Like, it allowed so many single season records to be broken, and that kind of sucks.
That's the problem with records, though. I mean, they've always been that way. College seasons that have an extra week, things like that.
Well, they do the same kicking records, right? Like the amount of touchbacks, or extra points made. Well, you've scooted them back so far. Now, of course, they're extra points. They aren't going to have as many in a row, or their percentage isn't going to be as high. Things like that.
Touchbacks for sure. They keep moving that thing back.
What?
They keep moving the kickoff point back. So
yeah, I mean, well, when I was in college was the year they did college kickoffs from the 30-yard line, like the pros. They scooted it back.
Yeah,
and it was like, what the hell? So it didn't have a chance at all these touchbacks. So it just messed with college records and stuff.
College is back at the 35 now, though, right?
Yeah, they scooted them back up after I graduated. Jerks. They tried that for a couple years, and they were like, actually, let's move it back to where it was. Thanks for that experiment. So
perfect timing.
It was horrible. That's it's like I'm not a professional yet, people. Anyways, yeah, so moving all these things around is messing with that. A lot of single season records broken this last week because of that extra game. So that kind of sucks. So I don't know how they're going to do that in the record books. I think it just is what it is. But who knows? Anyways, feeling a bit dead in here. Kind of covered everything I think we should talk about. Let's just get off here, man, and call it good till next week. Not sure that we have any other shows this week. I know some people are taking breaks. Season's finally done. It was a long season, guys. So we're going to be taking a little bit easy here for a little bit. We had the JV show put out a show recorded last night. It came out on our YouTube today. Oh my gosh, weird, dude. Johnny just hopped in IG right as I was saying that. That's so weird.
That's funny.
That's funny. What's up, buddy? So check that out on that episode. It's talking about the playoffs and everything. He covers that really good. And then eventually I'll show the Nick on the Rocks. I'm trying to get like a video intro made for that and stuff before posting it, but it turned out pretty good too. So got it edited and ready to go, and just preparing for next year. So anyways,
I will be on here with Tony and David. We might try to get Ocean State if he's over being sick. We'll play that by ear, but me, Tony, and David will for sure be here for DFS Twins Sunday morning still.
Love it.
For this week and next week. First 2 weeks of the playoffs, we'll do DFS coverage still on that show until there's not enough teams to really worry about it. So
no doubt. Johnny says, Corey just had the Mamba mentality. He knew I was coming in. Dude, that was really weird. Started talking about it, and then JV show drops in here. So that's kind of funny. I love it.
That was hilarious.
But Alrighty, guys, we're signing off for the night, and thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank y'all.